is
Okay.
okay.
Yeah. Let's do
Yeah,
that again.
my
So yeah,
something is blocking the screen. I don't know why.
yeah, but I do see you though, and I think
You do see me, so it's
yeah, I
okay.
see you.
Okay,
So
all
you're
right.
not blocked here.
The my spouse's aunt died,
Mm-hmm.
and she died back in August actually, and they wanted to bring her ashes to Croatia and bury them with her husband who
Mm-hmm.
died a couple of years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So I accompanied her on this trip, and I
Okay.
have a friend here who is a musician, and I'm going to do some studio work with him as well.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a twofold situation. We did the funeral and burying of the ashes yesterday, and today and tomorrow I'm going to be in the studio doing some studio work, and the rest of the time just enjoying Croatia, the food, the people,
Yeah.
situation.
Yeah. How is it? Is it as cold as I think it is?
It's colder than it is in the Netherlands.
Mm-hmm.
It's in the mid 50s, but there's a wind, and that wind makes it seem cold.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
It's very cold at night. It goes down to low around 2 degrees or something like that. But that's centigrade, not for all you people in the states. It's not 2 degrees Fahrenheit. That's about 36 degrees Fahrenheit,
And
about 2 degrees centigrade.
so what is it? Because I never understood it. I have to look it up. But is it like a 35 degrees difference in between Celsius and Fahrenheit?
No, it's not really a, a set amount of numbers.
Uh huh.
They differ as you go up and down the scale.
Really?
But once you get to 50, it's all even again.
That's weird. That's why I don't never understand
Well, you know, white people, they make up dumb shit and they make it
it.
complicated so that it makes them seem smart.
Okay.
It's
Well,
either
that's
cold or it's not cold.
okay. So we entered the conversation because we set up an interview about talking about Dave Chappelle, right? Dave Chappelle has a couple of specials out on Netflix, and he has a series of like I think the last three, and there's a little or no, not a little, not a little backlash about him being anti-gay or and LGBTQ. What is your process? Did you see the documentaries or not the documentaries? Did you see the specials?
Yes, I watched all of them
Mm-hmm.
so that I would know what I'm talking about. I watched all of them from beginning to end. And what I saw was the genius of Dave Chappelle. It's very difficult, if not impossible, to make comedy politically correct. When you are poking fun of someone, then you're going to say things that are controversial. And some people are going to take offense to it. And some people are going to think it's very funny. And but there's a line. There's a line when you bring in hate and you bring in violence and all kinds of things that will actually harm a group of people because of the things that you say. And
Mm-hmm.
that definitely was not in any of the specials.
Yeah, yeah. Let's look at. Okay, you're speaking from your perspective, right? You have a life experience. Just take us a little bit back to where you were born and what is your perspective in the states about stand up, and particularly in this in where you were born.
Okay, I was born in Kentucky,
Mm-hmm.
and I was born in 1953. So that makes me 68 years old, 2 years from 70.
Mm-hmm.
There were comedians like Lenny Bruce. You can look that up. I doubt that you know who that is at
I
all.
I know who that is.
Okay, you had Lenny Bruce, you have George Carlin, you had Richard Pryor.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, George, I can't think of his last name, very funny. You had Nipsey Russell, you had Bill Cosby. All of these comedians made jokes about different ethnicities, different parts of society, and it was viewed as comedy. It was taken as funny, and it wasn't taken as a commentary. Today, if you say something, it becomes fact, it becomes conspiracy theory, it becomes a documentary. Damn it, it's a joke.
Mm-hmm.
Get over it. If Black people were as sensitive as these other groups, there would be no comedy about Black people. Al Jolson was a performer who painted his face black and came out and acted like Black people.
Mm-hmm.
And that white people at that time thought that was fine, that was entertainment. We saw it as racist, making fun of us and putting Black people up as a spectacle. But the white man saw it as entertainment. And that shit was all over television, radio, and everywhere else.
Yeah. So the question is it a black or white thing? Is or in this case, Dave Chappelle or humor? Is it that, or is it just people are sensitive?
It's always a black and white thing. It's both.
Can you explain that a little bit?
While the white man has a derogatory term for every group and race of people.
Mm-hmm.
The Chinese, he calls them chinks. The Puerto Ricans, he calls them spics. Italians, he calls wops. Black people, he calls niggas. And he's been doing that forever. But now that it's being done to him, he's sensitive. That's bullshit.
Is that what's
You can't.
happening? Sorry for cutting off.
That's what's happening. On one hand,
Mm-hmm.
and on the other hand, with the whole transgender movement, I'll just call it the trans movement or the LGBT, whatever. They add a new letter every damn week.
Okay.
They want to be a spectacle.
Mm-hmm.
When you are a man and you dress as a woman, you've already made yourself a spectacle. Especially if you're 6'6" and you got feet the size of fucking canoes.
So you're saying you're not the norm, so to speak.
No, yeah, you're beyond the norm. You are already a spectacle. A 6'6" man in high heel pumps is a spectacle.
Mm-hmm.
That is something that you look at and go, what the fuck is that?
Mm-hmm.
If you don't want that kind of attention, don't dress like that. Because that's what's going to happen.
So just to maybe I'm making it too plain, but it's if this is we're doing something out of the norm and then we stick out with the odd one in, then people will either say something about it or make fun of it, and this means if I have red hair or black hair and I'm supposed to have that, you're not the norm, then people will make a joke. And so we're talking about the joke. What Dave Chappelle is doing is making a joke out of certain characteristics, and you're saying that's not being anti.
What I'm saying is Dave Chappelle is a comedian.
Mm-hmm.
He makes his living on writing comedy and telling jokes. Mm-hmm. So he has an open door to anything that he thinks is funny. Now, a normal person walking down the street, seeing you dressed as a woman, maybe he's not a comedian.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he's insecure about how he feels.
Mm.
So then he attacks the person that is in front of him that portrays something that makes him afraid.
Mm-hmm.
Because maybe secretly he's a cross dresser.
Mm.
We had a member of Congress
Okay.
who voted down every single gay rights bill,
Mm-hmm.
only to find out that he was gay.
Wow. Hey, and just you mentioned it. I thought you were talking about J. Edgar Hoover, his alleged cross-dressing.
Well, it has been established that most cross dressers are not gay.
Mm-hmm.
They just like to portray themselves as women.
Mm-hmm.
They like the feel of women's clothing, but they're not interested in being with the man. They're just interested in being treated like a woman by a man. And that, in my opinion, goes into the category of extremely confused.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to be treated like a woman by a man, sooner or later you're going to get fucked because that's what we do to women.
Mm-hmm.
So that in itself is an oxymoron. But there are those who claim they don't want to be with a man. They just want to dress like a woman and get the same attention that a woman gets. To each his own. I don't give a damn what you do, but don't tell me that it's normal.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I draw the line. You
I hear
have
you.
people tell me this is normal. No, it's not
Mm.
normal. You may accept it as normal, but that doesn't make it normal. I may accept it as normal to eat a plate of dog shit,
Uh-huh.
but that's not normal. And dressing as a man when you're a woman, or a woman when you're a man, is not normal. It's like waking up in the morning and your dog starts meowing. That's not normal. Now you may say, I don't care if my dog meows, it doesn't bother me, but it doesn't make it normal.
You had a conversation, if you want to talk about that. You had a conversation with your daughter about your position on this, because of course, we can hear that you have in a lot of people's opinions a strong opinion about this, and you are verbal about it. Can you elaborate on the conversation you had, or is it too private?
No.
Yeah.
My daughter has a group of friends. I call them the Breakfast Club.
Okay.
And she has a group of friends, and they range in age from 20 to 21.
Mm-hmm.
Well, 19 to 21. My daughter is the youngest. She's 19, but she will be 20 in December. They're all virgins. None of them have a relationship with the opposite sex.
Mm-hmm.
And if they do, it's gay.
Okay.
So, in other words, all my daughter's male friends are gay.
Hmm.
And at least 1/3 of her female friends are gay. So I asked her, "Are you gay?
Hmm.
You seem to be leaning in that direction." She said, "No." I said, "Are you bisexual?" She said, "No." She says, "I am asexual. I don't like men and I don't like women in a sexual way.
Mm-hmm.
I have no interest in a relationship, but I accept everyone.
Hmm.
Transgenders, bis, gays, straight, I don't care. I accept everyone because to me, it's all normal." And then
Uh-huh.
that's when we had the normal conversation. I said, no. It's all accepted by you, but it's not all normal.
Okay. What did she say?
Now, this is a problem. Everybody who wants to do something that's abnormal wants to force you to accept it as normal. The whole Caitlyn Jenner thing, when some people demanded that you call her she is not a she.
Mm-hmm.
Her hormones are male. He is biologically male and he will die biologically male.
Mm-hmm.
He may dress up as a female, he can make breast implants, He can remove his penis, or I don't care what he does.
Mm-hmm.
He is male. And for me to address him correctly is male. He's not female. He will never be female. It
But if,
doesn't matter
but
how
if,
much.
but if somebody feels more comfortable in that skin, and then we accept that, okay, that's not the norm, but I feel comfortable you calling me this, that could be okay, right?
That's great.
Mm-hmm.
It's great if you say to me, I would rather you address me as Bozo the Clown. I will call you Bozo the Clown.
Mm-hmm.
But if you demand that I accept you as a female when you're a male, I will not do that, because then I am lying.
But what
It's,
does
it's, it's a lie.
what does it mean then? Okay, like if I say, listen, I feel more comfortable being this, and can you address me as such? And of course, this is a new thing for us. I can say this because when I look at somebody that is or how you say it, is a trans person, it's not clear what that person is to me in the normal sense. I hope I'm I'm saying it the right way, because that's the confusion for me. I don't know whether to say, are you a guy? Are you a girl? And that the question is already, or can be, offensive.
The best way to avoid that is say, excuse me, what is your name?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
address them by name, period.
Mm-hmm.
Never use the word he or she, just use the name. And if that person wants you to address them as a male or female, then they will let you know.
But we are so accustomed to addressing him or her that's in our normal conversation. So that's where the struggle begins.
Yeah, that's in our normal conversations for those who don't think before they open their mouth.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at someone and you're not sure if they're male or female, then use your brain and think, and just address them by their name.
Mm.
Doesn't matter if they're male or female.
That's true.
If they want to be called Charlie, that can be confusing, because Charlie can be used as a girl and Charlie can be used as a guy. But Charlie is Charlie. If he's 6'4" and he looks like he should be on the front line of the LA Rams, and he wants you to call him Sharon, then call him Sharon.
Well,
it's obvious that he's Bruce, but he wants to be called Sharon, call him Sharon.
So to go back to the conversation you had with your daughter, was she, like, your opinion, was she okay with it? Could she handle your view?
She handled my view, and it shifted our relationship to another level, because she was under the impression that I was anti gender changing or whatever. And then I told her a story of a friend of mine who I was producing when he was 16 years old.
Just to be clear, you're a musician, right? Because you're a
I'm
musician producer.
Yes, I'm a musician.
Because you look like a revolutionary. You look like you're going to war.
Well, I'm on Zoom with you for the very controversial subject. So I'm dressing the part now. This is definitely a fashion statement.
Okay.
But she was under the impression that I would be a gender basher. And I told her about a friend of mine from the age of 16 used to come to my house and change clothes and be a girl because he couldn't do it at home.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say, you can do it in my house. You want to come to the studio as a girl, you want to go in the bathroom, change clothes, and come out and sing as a girl, no problem. I have no problem with that. He ended up getting married to his mate, who's also male, and they've been together since they were 5 years old.
Wow.
5 years. This is an incredible story. They've been together since they're 5 years old, and they started fooling around with each other in their early teens. His or her partner, however you want to say it, is not gay, does not like men at all, but definitely likes him. So he decided in the middle of the relationship that he was going to get a girlfriend. So he went out and got a girlfriend. 2 months later, he came back to his partner and he said to me, Niki, I like women, but I love him. And they've been together now almost 30, 35 years.
So what happened when you told your daughter this story?
And I showed her pictures. Because this particular person is amazingly beautiful. Women wish they were as beautiful as this person. This person has been tested, and he definitely has more female chromosomes than male. He's literally in the wrong body, literally. And it didn't take much gene and I forgot what the technical name for the therapy they go through, hormonal therapy, to change him into a woman. It took very little. And then she read things that he wrote about me and how I supported him or whatever. And then she looked at me in a completely different light. And she was like, oh, you're really cool. I said, yeah, but it's not known.
So actually you're saying that she had built up an attitude towards your attitude, at least what she thought you were. And by telling her the story, that is a real story, what, 10, 20 years ago, whatever. And now she sees you in a different light.
She sees me in a completely different light. And so now when I say something, because every once in a while a transgender story will come out and there's no nothing, I'll go, well, hey, that's bullshit. And she would go, well, he's anti-gender or whatever. Yeah. Now she doesn't say that anymore. Now she knows if I say it's bullshit, it's bullshit.
It's bullshit from the standpoint of norm.
Yeah, it's just, you know, you can, yeah, like I said, you know, you can train your dog to meow, but it's not a cat.
You know why it's important that you tell that story? Again, we entered this interview, this conversation about Dave Chapelle, about the history of stand-up comedy. And the reason why I think it's important that people that hear your story, the way you tell it and the way you relate it to your daughter, is because of if people would have listened to the first 5 or 10 minutes, yeah, they might have the same opinion as your daughter had. And you explaining your position and how you look at it is the same thing that Dave Chapelle did in the last special, Closer, where he explains that he is not anti-gay or anti-LGBTQ, because this is a story he tells about him meeting a trans woman and becoming friends with her. And that story is such a great story. When I listened to the story, I was like, that's just from a human standpoint, right? Like human being to human being. That's a great story. And but it's a tragic story as well. What do you think about that story?
I agree with you. But I'll give you another example. My daughter and my spouse will laugh if you're walking down the street on a snowy day and you slip on a block of ice and you fall down and bust your ass. They start laughing. They think that's funny. And they will laugh in your face while you're on the ground with a broken arm or whatever. They don't care. To them, that's funny. I am deeply offended by that.
Really?
Oh, yes, deeply offended.
I think
you're
it's funny.
laughing at someone's pain.
Well, they don't have to die, but it
doesn't matter. If someone is laying there in pain,
okay,
if you fall and bust your ass, you get up and you start laughing, then everybody laughs. But wait until you see how that person is reacting to what happened to them. They just start laughing. So you land up with a broken arm or a broken leg or whatever, and somebody's laughing in your face. I find that extremely offensive. And I told my wife and daughter that. I said, that's not funny. And my wife and daughter were like, well, it's not funny to you, it's funny to me. And they defended their right to laugh at somebody. And my attitude was like, well, fuck you too. But then I told them the Chapelle joke.
Yeah.
They ended, so I kicked her in the pussy. They weren't laughing. They did not think that was funny at all. Oh, so you don't think it's funny that Dave Chapelle kicks somebody in the pussy in pain, but somebody falls on a block of ice and hurts themselves, that's funny. So, comedy is personal. Very personal.
Absolutely.
So you can't have blanket comedy for everybody. The person sitting next to you could be very offended that you're wearing a shirt with polka dots because somebody who was wearing a shirt with polka dots did something to them that harmed them. So now every time they see a shirt with polka dots, they get offended. You can't help that. You didn't do that. Whatever that person with polka dotted shirt did, you didn't do. But it doesn't stop that person from being offended. So if comedy offends you, don't watch it. Let's get to the cancel culture. Cancel it for your damn self. Don't cancel it for me. Cancel it for yourself. If you don't want to watch it, you cancel it. But you don't have to go on the soapbox, Twitter, Facebook, and tell everybody else not to watch it because you don't like it. And that's the thing with social media. Social media, people take social media to give them the right to tell everybody else what to do. Hey, mind your own business.
That is what it seems like what's happening with Dave at the moment. And kind of he knew that they were heading towards that, and he said, I don't care because I know where I stand, and I do believe what I'm saying, that I'm not anti. And to be honest with you, I watched the specials. I watched them back to back, and I think I shared it with you guys and say, hey, did you see this? And because I'm a storyteller, so I love the stories he told and the brilliant, genius way he tells the stories. But I could not find, just by listening to the stories, I could not see where I would say he's anti anything, because he makes fun of everything. and this is what for instance, why I love to listen to. So the name just pops up and pops out of my head, but I think the guy. I mean, this is a white comedian, an older one. I think he is 80 now, or either he passed away.
Rodney Dangerfield?
No, the other one. Man, he used to hang out with Frank Sinatra, with the Rat Pack.
Not George Carlin.
No, an older guy. Man, his name will pop up. But he used to make fun of blacks, whites, Chinese, gay, straight. He messed with everybody. And the fun thing, and it's funny that we're talking about this now. The fun thing is that he was broadcast all over the States. Like he had a platform. He went on Dave Letterman show 20 times.
Don Rickles. Yes.
Don Rickles, to me, he's the funniest guy that really basically made fun of everybody. One of his favorite jokes was, and I borrowed that one sometimes, and then I said to a very good friend of mine, I said, I really don't like you, huh? He could do that stuff, like set you straight, or kick you up a notch. So what I'm trying to understand is, why wasn't he canceled? Why did they try to cancel him?
Because he was real, and there would be no use in canceling him. We have also, you talk about the cancel culture.
Yeah.
We have another culture going on. It's the apologetic culture.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't apologize, I'm going to ruin your career.
Yeah. Well,
whatever
Kevin
that
Hart.
career may be.
Yeah.
And
Kevin Hart.
who put a couple of people put the brakes on it, like Eddie Murphy.
Oh yeah.
Eddie Murphy was caught with a transvestite.
Mm-hmm.
His words were so, and the press had nowhere to go. He didn't apologize for it.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm going to say something that can be very controversial, but I don't give a damn. Donald Trump. Why do you think he has so many followers? Because he's unapologetic for what he does. He doesn't apologize for anything. People are sick of the apologetic culture. Oh, you have to apologize. You have to apologize. People are sick. Why should you apologize for something that you meant it when you said it? You meant it when you said it. So why are you apologizing for it?
Exactly. So when we go back to the stand-up culture, it's that it's a joke. It's fun. We can laugh about it. It's not setting up to harm somebody. And Dave says, I'm not going to apologize. Actually, I want to have a conversation with you to see where your pain is. But most of all, I would love you to just not watch it if you don't like it. You know what I mean?
Well, take Richard Pryor. You couldn't get any more offensive than Richard Pryor. Richard Pryor did a joke about Jesus. And he had a character named Mudbone.
Yep.
And Mudbone was talking to somebody, a younger person that was trying to set them straight. And he goes, nah, I told him. Jesus, Jesus, I told him. Don't you go down there fucking with them Jews. Not once did the Jewish Defense League come out and say he was anti-Semitic. Not once did anybody come on television and say that he was against Jews. All the Jews laughed because it was funny. Even Christians didn't come out and say he said something bad about Jesus to Jews. Nobody. You know why? Because Richard was real, and they knew good and damn well he wasn't going to apologize for it. He meant what he said. And if Jesus didn't go down there fucking with them Jews, he wouldn't have been nailed to a cross. But the Christians didn't get upset, and Jews didn't get upset. It was a joke, but there was a ring of truth in the joke that could not be denied. But if somebody came out and said that today, forget about it. It'd be all over CNN, Fox, everybody. Because we have the apologetic culture that you can't say this and you can't say that. But for years and years, you couldn't say different things on TV, but you could always say nigga.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
What was that sensitivity? Where were the white people standing up saying this was wrong? The white man never stands up for that. But why? Because he likes to call you a nigga. He likes to call you a chink. He likes to call you a spick. He feels that's his right.
This is what Dave Chapelle was saying, that, well, in his story, he says, that was Richard Pryor. He was invited to do a stand-up at a humanitarian function, and then he arrived, and it turned out to be a gay function, and he was okay with it, but he said, no, I don't know how to enter this and what to say really about the subject. Then he saw a situation where a couple of guys, black guys in this case, they were supposed to do a fire act, and they, because in the States, maybe here in Holland as well, when you have to do like a fire act in a theater, there you need a lot of permits. You know, it's like a lot of protection. So the fire department has to, you know, watch your act and see and approve it. So they got all the stamps and the papers. But then when there was one captain on scene that even though these guys had the papers, he just said, "Nah, you guys are not performing." And he saw that, and he used that to enter his stand-up, his talk. And he said, it's so easy for the gays to ask us to defend them, but when we need defending, you guys are not there. That was a joke he made, and then people took it the wrong way, and you know, they tried to cancel him, but, you know, obviously they did not succeed. So it's the perspective of the person that is being offended, so-called, and who's doing it and why. Going back to the Dave Chapelle story, he told a story about the transgender woman he met and befriended and helped in helping her career to be, quote unquote, successful. And then when the backlash came, she stood up for him and said, this is not that guy you're talking about, because this is what he did for me. This is what he does for people. He's a nice person, loving human beings, blah, blah, blah. And then because of she standing up for him, the gay community, the transgender, they start attacking her. And she ended up killing herself. I thought that was I didn't see that all coming. Did you see the story coming, ending like that? I didn't see that. And it was a twist that you cannot make that up, in my opinion, that you're telling me that I'm offending you, but then when I'm not agreeing with you, you attack me to the degree that I kill myself.
Well, there are those on this planet that are constantly looking for a fight.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter. And you have this George W. Bush statement on 9/11. Either you're with us or you're against us.
Mm-hmm.
There's no in between. And of course, there's an in between. And so they attacked her because they wanted to continue to attack Dave Chappelle. Mm. She's ruining everything for them because this is their spotlight. This is where they get attention. Mm-hmm. They're getting attention for themselves and whatever their agenda is by attacking Dave Chappelle. She defends Dave Chappelle. Now you've thrown water on their fire. Mm. Even if they agreed with her, it doesn't matter. We're still going to attack Dave Chappelle, and you're not going to stop us. Mm-hmm. The fact that she killed herself meant that she was weak. And if it wasn't over David Chappelle, she would have killed herself over shaving her pubic hairs too short. And so her life is over. Mm-hmm. You know, I have no sympathy for suicide. If you are going to commit suicide over something like that, you know, good luck with that. I have no sympathy for that at all. You know, if somebody wants to commit suicide because they don't want to go through extreme pain mm-hmm. or extreme torture, okay, I can understand.
But that can like mental pain and suffering because of backlash.
But to kill myself mm-hmm. because the gay community went against me
we're not disagreeing. We're not disagreeing. I'm just giving you perspective that some people cannot handle the pressure, and then the pressure is to escape.
Then they deserve to die. Goodbye.
Okay. Well, you see.
Yeah, I mean that's no good for.
No, but I hear what you're saying, and it's go ahead. See, this is the first time we clash because I know people that were on the edge, and through circumstances that was the reason, and it's like a compound thing. But okay, that's your opinion. So I'm saying that the situation where he was defending a trans woman and then befriended her, and then she actually grew from working with him. He put her on stage, and then she got better in doing whatever she did as a stand-up comedian, but then stood up for Dave because of her relationship with him, and then got backlash for that. And of course, I wouldn't consider myself a person that will commit suicide, and I can understand when it feels like the whole world is against you. Maybe that's what she felt. I don't know. I'm assuming. But just to step away from the suicide thing, it's just the idea, the question I was asking is that the very community that should protect her was against her. And you explained that a little bit, but that was my aim.
Well, again, the community that should protect her, that went against her, I am sure was a small minority of loudmouth idiots.
Yeah, I guess so.
The entire gay community of the entire world was not against her.
True.
So in my opinion, this person was unstable. And they would have committed suicide because they went to McDonald's and got a quarter pounder when they wanted a Big Mac. If something's going to push you over the edge like that, then I think the whole Dave Chappelle thing had nothing to do with it.
Let me bring it closer to home, because sometimes we disagree, and that's fine. So I had a comment, and this has nothing to do with the situation we're talking about, but to just give you some perspective on how I emotionally connect to maybe somebody, stepping out, killing him or herself. Not to the degree that I wanted to do it, but I can imagine that the pressure could be this high or immense. A friend of mine posted something on LinkedIn, and somebody else reacted on it, and I reacted on that person. Me being giving advice, sometimes unwanted, but I just gave feedback on that. And somebody else reacted on my post by bashing me, basically saying, "Who are you? That person is superior to you. You should not mansplaining, and go to your mother and let her wash your mouth with soap." Niki, I was reading that, and I was like, whoa, I did not see that one coming. And I had to really think and feel and step back from that information to come back with a reaction. And I came back with a loving reaction, because in my opinion, what happened was that person trying to defend somebody she didn't even know. And so in my opinion, something was wrong with her. So I reacted not from my first emotion reaction perspective, not even second. It was the third, like, okay, let me go at it in this way. So what eventually happened, I reacted. I didn't get a reaction back from her, but the original person I gave feedback to reacted to my comment and basically said, yeah, next time I will take that in consideration. And I'm being really honest here. When the woman reacted that way, I start doubting man, should I have done this? What did I? Oh man, Winston, come on. That was maybe the wrong thing to say. But when the original person reacted, I'm like, no, it was okay. This other person is messed up. But that's only one person doing it. So I'm just saying, I'm a stable person, and I was a little bit like, wait a minute. So can you imagine 100, 1,000, especially in the States where the communities are much larger than in Europe, in Holland, 100 or 1,000 people in your community coming at you? That could be a strain. Anyway, go back to Dave Chappelle's his story.
What can I react to?
Sure.
My reaction would have been to the person who wrote, "You should have your mouth washed out," or whatever. I would go back. Apparently, you're a fucking idiot. Fuck you. and I hope I never encounter you again in this universe or any universe ever.
Okay, that's a.
And as far as thousands of people,
Mm-hmm.
I always like to go back to Galileo. One man said the world was round. One man.
Mm-hmm.
The entire world said he was wrong. He was even imprisoned by the Catholic Church for saying the world is round. He stood his ground. He said, fuck you all.
Mm-hmm.
The world is round. And he was right. One man went against the entire world at that time, and he was right. So I always really like to go with the Galileo. I don't give a damn what you think. When I know I'm right, your opinion means nothing to me. Let's go ahead.
That makes sense. Well, that's it. That again, the way you enter well, actually, your answer explains your mindset. So this is why I wanted to talk to you about the whole Dave Chappelle and the bashing and the cancel culture. We are talking almost 45 minutes now, so that means it's an interesting conversation. So if you're listening and you're like, "Hey, Winston, Niki, I like the conversation," or "I don't like it," please leave a comment below. If you want to cancel us, please let us know. Then we'll take that in consideration and do something with it. So, is there anything else you want to say about this subject? Because we're almost done with this.
Well, with Dave Chappelle, I equate him with Galileo. He knows he's right. So he doesn't worry about it. He is not going to second guess himself. He's not going to apologize for something that he felt he did not do. Mm-hmm. And he shouldn't. When all the white comedians and black comedians and Chinese comedians and African comedians and Hispanic comedians come out and apologize for everything they said and ever said, then he should apologize if he feels like it. Mm-hmm. But I don't think even if that happened, he would or should. Comedy is comedy. Yeah. And comedy is not everybody's brand of comedy of comedy is not the same. Mm-hmm. There's a particular female comic who does an amazing amount of man bashing. Mm-hmm. And she said something that I thought wasn't funny. She said, if I have a man who wants to lay in a jacuzzi in a bubble bath, I consider him weak. Mm-hmm. And I said to myself, I can consider you an idiot. What does weak have to do with laying in a jacuzzi with bubbles?
Some more, right? There's some more, yeah. I think it was.
And yeah. But if that same man got up out of jacuzzi and smacked the shit out of you, then it would be violence against women. No, he's weak.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, well,
to consider a man weak because he wants to take a bath is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard in my life. And when she said that in her act, she wasn't laughing. She meant that shit. Mm-hmm. Because she's brought up in a stupid culture that would actually equate weakness with a bath. You should be glad the funky ass nigga wants to be clean. Mm-hmm. But you know what I mean?
Yeah. Shit, got you.
That's how far comedy can go to the left or to the right. Uh-huh. So if I just get up and go chocolate milk, somebody's gonna be offended. Somebody in the audience, let's go on stage and say, ladies and gentlemen, Niki Buzz. I'll go up to the mic and go, chocolate milk. half the audience is going to laugh, but somebody in that audience is going to take offense to what I said.
Clear.
Yeah.
Well, Niki, again, it was, to me, from a spontaneous idea of talking to you about Dave Chappelle and the cancel culture, I enjoyed it very much, and I hope you did too. I hope you're listening and you're like, hey, let's talk about this. It's broader than Dave Chappelle, of course, and this was Winston Scholsberg experience. Yes, we did it again. Niki, is there anything else you want to say to close this conversation?
Yes. Everybody take a deep breath, look around you, and be happy for where you are, for what you have. Don't look at what you don't have. Mm-hmm. Look at what you have and move forward.
Clear, man. Thanks. Yeah, man, that's it. Winston Scholsberg experience with Niki Buzz. And we were talking about cancel culture. Dave Chappelle, anti-gay or anti-LGBTQ. See you next time. Thanks, Niki.
You're welcome.